All right, I have let the glue dry overnight, and you can see that I have taped it to hold it securely while it dries. And now the fun part, taking the tape off. I always feel this is like opening a Christmas present or something. So I'm going to take the tape off and basically check to see if the shells have been glued on securely. By the way, you can reuse this masking tape. It works quite well for several tapings. And let's see, I'm going to take this one off here. So I've just glued the 3 on to start. There we are. And this one right here. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm just going to test them and make sure they're in there solidly. The big one certainly is, and that one is. This one I wasn't sure about because I only glued it along this edge and a little bit on the back. It's not always easy to tell exactly where the glue needs to be applied because you can't really see all the surfaces that are touching. So anyway, this worked out perfectly, so that's all good. I will continue on with the rest of it and show you probably when I'm done, unless anything else comes up. I mentioned you can reuse the tape. When you're wearing your gloves, obviously it's very awkward to handle tape, so I usually end up taking them off. But there are times when I just put some extra strips here on the edge of the cardboard so I can quickly grab it, and sometimes that works even if you're wearing your gloves. You can put it in place without having to take your gloves off. So that's a really good tip for you there. Here's another excellent tip. As I mentioned to you, I'm going to use the bigger pieces on the bottom here, and I might want to make sure that I have enough big pieces for each side, just for the symmetry of it all. So, obviously, if I want to work on a different side, that's going to mean that the shells that I've already glued will at some point be subject to being pressed into the table. So, very important point. You can also add this to your supply list. I like to use the large bubble wrap, and the very first lamp I ever made, I did one side at a time. So when I completed one side, I simply covered that side in bubble wrap, and I have lots of it, so I'm going to use a double layer. Obviously, I don't need to cover this part, but I'm just showing you what I did with that first lamp. So I covered it over like that, and then you can turn it over without the risk of breaking any of your shells, especially if they're sand dollars. And if you do have sand dollars, I'd use some extra layering. So in this case, I just need to cover this part here. And sure, I'll use another layer, even though they are all very strong shells. And so I can turn it over and start working on the bottoms of the other 3 sides. All right, and I'll check in with you again. Stay tuned.